want to talk about why I think business school is one of the best episodes of The Office. The episode starts off with Micheal Scott completely disregarding Kevin on his near-death experience, and Micheal bragging about how he's going to speak at a business school. Micheal has been excited to show his expertise in business for a while now, so an opportunity like this where he can be looked as a superhero CEO is really appealing to him. There are two more subplots that are also important to the story. Pam is excited for her very first art show and is trying to invite everyone from the office to come. Although she is excited, she's also nervous. Pam isn't courageous and yet still seeking validation from people on her art. Dwight has been tasked with the responsibility to protect the people of the office from a bat. These three storylines all have something in common. All of them are trying to be a hero. Michael's doing it in a repulsive way, Pam's doing it in a reserved way, and well, Dwight's just doing it in Dwight's way. Michael can't help but feel like the man at the moment, as this is something he's always dreamed about. Michael's more worried about how he's going to be perceived by the students rather than teaching an important lesson about business school. What the audience realizes is that the real business world isn't as soft and as friendly as Michael imagines it to be. The students are concerned about margins, profits, and expenses. Even Ryan is only concerned about bringing Michael in to raise his grade average. What we believe in the real world is what business is about. Power, money, and snob. Different of how it's run in the office. Michael plays his corny antics as he would, but instead of Jim and Pam laughing at it in a funny way, these business students are trying to go at Michael's neck. They ask him questions like how the model of the business is even lasting, how are profit margins, what's driving sales in a declining economy. Michael, caught off guard, was not prepared for these questions. Although these students bring up important points, Michael gets upset only once he is told Ryan doesn't think Dunder Mifflin is cool, and that's when Michael loses it. Because Michael has always seen Ryan as another one of his friends in the office. In a lot of ways, he even looks up to Ryan. Michael then goes off on Ryan and tells him he's never made a sale. Business might seem like a bunch of numbers and calculations, but when you think about it, it's a transaction between two people. I trade one thing in hopes of receiving something from you. That's how friendships work. So when Michael told Ryan he has never made a sale, what he's really saying is that Michael has never made a friend. It might be Michael's own fault that he thought Ryan was bringing him in because of admiration rather than personal gain. You can say a lot about Michael, call him an idiot, make fun of his inability to get a girlfriend, or even the fact that he has a small dick. The one thing Michael doesn't allow though is disrespect towards his friends, in this case his business. If you do, you get hit with, in my opinion,
what Kelly is? Good manager doesn't fire people, he hires people, he inspires people. People, right? And people will never go out of business.
Ryan tries to defend himself by saying it wasn't personal, and Michael says, business is always personal. It's the most personal thing in the world. Pam is spending the whole episode trying to convince people to come to her art show, specifically Kelly. This is the first time she puts herself out there to be criticized. She as well is seeking validation, and the whole time, to make things worse, she has to watch Jim play a prank on Dwight with Karen instead of her. After promises from people in the office to come to her art show, she stands alone by her wall of art. A grandma approaches her wall, the classic nice figure that would give her the validation she desires. Even grandma cannot appreciate Pam's art for what it is. Pam then tries to convince the grandma that she's an artist, though the viewer is unsure if Pam even believes this. This is just as cringy for us, the viewer, to watch, the same way Michael tries to convince a bunch of students he knows business. But what really exposes the sadness of her attempts at validation is when her boyfriend shows up. And Roy just tries to make it about how good of a boyfriend he is, rather than making the moment about Pam's art, fake compliments, and a fake tone. So what about Dwight? Dwight never sought validation from anyone in this episode. He was courageously himself, a farmer, investigator, and briefly office manager, all at once in this episode. He takes on the role of not what he wants, but what is needed. He cares deeply for his fellow friends in the office by stepping up to capture the bat that haunts everyone. So what? Is Dwight going to prove to the students Dunder Mifflin is indeed profitable, or Pam's art is good? No, it's simply a reminder of the deeper friendship the people in the office have. Dwight is holding down the office, protecting the people of it from a bat infestation. To really nail home this point about the power of friendship, as Pam is about to strip her paintings off the wall, as well as her dreams, Micheal Scott enters. After just giving Orion a lesson on personal relationship skills, he demonstrates this lesson right here, being a good friend. He genuinely appreciates Pam's art, he actually wants to buy the painting of the office, and Pam finally gets the validation of the art on her piece of paper. So I wanted to just give like a freestyle of why I think this episode's so cool. It's one of the rare times that people in the office engage with the real world, and you realize it's not as comfortable as it is back in the office. The office also has this rare ability to turn comedy into a deeper meaning. Like on one random ass episode, you can get the biggest life lessons, and the office does it flawlessly. The same way Michael and Pam are trying to show their art or their expertise and challenge people's critique, the office does it the same way in challenging the idea of a sitcom or comedy not having a deeper life lesson, which is something I've been trying to work on as well. I feel like deeper life lessons in comedy. And it's one of the rare times we actually get to see Michael be serious, which is always awesome. This episode, Business School, teaches us that no matter how much you try to get validation from snobby business students or art critics by trying to be cool, politely asking them, or giving a pity story, a validation worth having is only obtained between a genuine connection between friends, and only then can your business or art have a deeper meaning behind it. That's tough.
Your shadow's coming from two different directions. What? Are there two suns?
Come on.
Last I checked, that's not an office building in the Andromeda Galaxy.